what you think upon, what you meditate on, is what wires you, right? And what can rewire you. And gratitude rewires your brain. It activates dopamine, serotonin, and the same chemical antidepressants aim to boost. Gratitude will do it.
Neck pain, backaches, headaches, fatigue, the list goes on, and you're likely on it. Tired of the broken system and big pharma? We offer logical solutions, teach you to think critically, and empower you to reclaim your health. Welcome to the Unplugged Healthcast with Dr. Kevin Wall.
Hey, good morning. Welcome back to the Unplugged Healthcast. This is your host, Dr. Kevin Wall. This is the beginning of a series podcast we're going to do on mental health and some of the effects that we're seeing in our society, revolving around depression, anxiety, and just general issues that are creating so many areas of hopelessness and just mental health problems. It's becoming an epidemic. So today I got a story for you today to start our podcast off. This is a story of a gentleman named Anthony Ray Hinton. Anthony spent 30 years on death row for a crime he didn't commit. He was working in a locked factory at the time of the crime that he was being accused of. The police told him he would be going to jail because he was black. His time in jail was spent in solitary confinement in a 5 by 7 foot cell, allowed out only 1 hour a day. But Hinton quickly became a friend and a counselor to other inmates and the death row guards, many of whom begged Hinton's attorney to get him out. After 30 years, a unanimous Supreme Court ruling ordered his release, and he walked free. In an interview after, he was quoted saying, "One does not know the value of freedom until it is taken away. People run out of the rain. I run into the rain. I'm so grateful for every drop just to feel it on my face." Hinton was later interviewed on 60 Minutes. The interview asked him, was he angry at the people who put him in jail unjustly? He said he forgave them all. The interview asked, but they took 30 years of your life. How can you not be angry? Hinton responded, if I'm angry and unforgiving, they will have taken the rest of my life. Today, I feel our world is really struggling with a lot of unforgiveness and bitterness. It's fueled often by the impact of social media and a lot of media aspects that just magnify some issues. I'm not saying there's not issues. I'm just saying we have a severe amount of unforgiveness and bitterness surrounding these issues. And I believe it's a massive factor in the epidemic of chronic illness. The Unplugged Healthcast exists because we see the epidemic of chronic illness that continues to increase in America and around the world, honestly. And I believe this one factor could change most of it. According to Johns Hopkins, they have found the act of forgiveness can reap a huge reward for your health, lowering the risk of heart attacks, improving cholesterol levels, improving sleep, reducing pain, reducing blood pressure. It can reduce the levels of anxiety, depression, and stress. Today, as I say, we kick off a series of conversations regarding mental health, anxiety, depression, and our host today is a great friend of mine, bringing you the benefits of vitamin G. Mike Gowans, he's an international speaker, a worldwide missionary to areas in India, Africa, South America, Latin America, as well as Middle America. He's a coach, he's a consultant, he's a pastor of 2 churches here in the Valley. He's good friends and works directly with Rice Brooks, who is the author of the series God's Not Dead. If you've not seen the movies, it's worthy of your time. But would you welcome into our show a great friend of mine, Mike Gowans?
I've had the amazing opportunity to travel the world, and I didn't realize that vitamin G was a thing, and
I don't think most of our listeners, they're curious what the heck it is and why it exists and maybe why you're an expert in it.
well, as I've traveled the world, I've seen people, taking vitamin G, and I didn't know that I've been taking it most of my life.
Really?
Yeah, and all the health benefits it had, and so I've from the travel and seeing people that were actively taking vitamin G, I've seen the results, and vitamin G is gratitude.
Oh, okay. Now we got it. So the vitamin G gratitude. Well, over in these unique parts of the world where people really have a lot to be mad about, you have told me many stories of how gratitude almost takes him out of their environment, like Anthony in this story I told.
Yeah, absolutely. And the great thing about vitamin G is it doesn't cost you any money. It does cost you giving up something. But you can take it anytime. You never run out of it. It's always available, and different places around the world that I've been where you would think, man, you should be depressed.
Yeah.
You should be angry. The injustice, just the lack of things that we think we need to have.
The things we take for granted every day, they have none of.
Yes, absolutely. And it's really amazing. I love taking people with me from America to different parts of the world where they don't have all the luxuries and things that many of us do and we take for granted. No question, there's a newfound gratefulness when people come back from these trips.
All right. Well, vitamin G is gratitude. Would you maybe help our audience understand the connection between vitamin G and their mental health? Because that's kind of our topic. That's an epidemic today. There's a ton of anxiety. We're just producing these podcasts shortly right after Charlie Kirk's assassination. Man, there's a lot of depression, anxiety issues just circulating. We're right in the mix of it. How can we connect gratitude to mental health in America, or for their audience listening?
Well, for over 40 years of doing ministry and counseling people, both here in the United States and different parts of the world, what I've discovered is you can't be depressed and grateful at the same time.
Wow.
I mean, there are a lot of things in this world that are hard, and when focused on and consumed enough, will cause depression.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's what I've just, discovered is you can't do both at the same time.
So I've heard you say gratitude rewires someone's brain. Maybe talk us through what you mean by that.
Well, that's fascinating. In the past couple decades, scientists have, discovered that the brain is not hardwired as they thought for years by age 25. For sure, more moldable, palatable, when someone's young, and by age 25, a lot of things are more, kind of solidified. But what they discovered in the last couple decades is that the brain is always rewiring. And you can rewire your brain, and, what you think upon, what you meditate on, is what wires you, right? And what can rewire you. And gratitude rewires your brain. It activates dopamine, serotonin, and the same chemical antidepressants aim to boost. Gratitude will do it.
Wow. Yeah, I have seen some of those studies, and we've talked in previous podcasts exactly about rewiring your brain. It seems like it's possible where it was impossible, as they said before. But people are still struggling on maybe how to do that. So gratitude, the concept makes sense. At some point, we're going to give them some exact ways of going about this. But before we get there, let's talk about gratitude in relationships, because most anxiety relationships are at the core of that, and usually it's bad relationships. So how does gratitude change that?
Is chronic pain holding you back? At AFC, our team is committed to your well-being. We provide holistic care, including chiropractic, physical medicine, immunotherapy, detox programs, and more. Our experts target the root cause of your pain for lasting relief. Book your consultation online or by phone and experience our smooth process. AFC, embrace a life without pain.
Yeah, let's just get really practical. I've been married 27 years, and I definitely married up. My wife's amazing. Yet, we've had conflict. We've had challenges, and
So hold on, pastors having conflict with their wives? No, don't tell me.
yeah, it has happened. And what I've found, even as I've maybe been frustrated, which is just a nice way of saying angry,
Yeah.
with my wife, in that moment, those feelings are not productive. They're not helpful. And even if I need to address something, about a situation with my wife, if I am angry going into that, I'm reflecting, the wrong emotion, and really coming with the wrong motive. It's selfish, and you want love to be the driver. And how do you get out of that? Because you're frustrated. It's real. Like we can't just, deny.
It's hard to switch from anger to love.
Yeah.
Is gratitude the transition?
It absolutely is. I remember a time that I was frustrated, and I was processing that with God. I'm like, God, you gave me this woman. And then he just gently hearing him say, what are you grateful for? Yeah. And honestly, in that moment, you don't want to, you don't feel like it.
No.
And feelings are real, but they're terrible. They're terrible at driving our lives, and so you have to make a choice, and you have that freedom. Nobody can steal that from you. Just like the opening story, right? I mean, there was plenty and justified, reasons why this gentleman would could have, bitterness to the injustice done to him, but that would have robbed him of the, his life. And so instead he chose to be grateful, to be free. Right.
I doubt many of our listeners, myself including, have ever been close to having 30 years of injustice served upon us, our freedom taken away, stuck in a cell. So when we think about, man, hard things, but I've had hard things, Pastor Mike. I've had difficult things. There's things you don't understand. That's why I can't let go of this. Well, you want to speak into that? Anthony's story kind of spoke into that, but I got a feeling you've got some thoughts on that.
Yeah. I think hearing other people's stories and hardships, and even going, to third world countries and seeing people that are in real need, can open your eyes, can be a shock, but that can't sustain you. Like, we all have hardships, every one of us.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, hard times will come. And so if you're always trying to use somebody else's harder time to make you feel better, that's not lasting. You have to learn the discipline of really finding what you're grateful for. I heard it said, years ago, what if before you go to bed, everything that you were grateful for that day, you went to bed And the next morning, whatever you were not grateful for was gone.
Oh, wow.
Right? And here's the truth. That which you're not grateful for, it's as if it is gone. Because even though you have it, you don't get to experience it. You don't even recognize what you have. And so, so often, we can get bent on what we don't have instead of all that we do have.
Wow. That's a great way of reframing it right there. If you want to reprogram your mind, just picture that. Every night you go to bed, if you forget to be grateful for something in the morning, it's gone. Think about that. Half the time your kids would be gone. Probably your house. You wake up homeless, right?
Yeah.
Food.
Food.
Your car. I mean, man, how many times do I go to bed and I try to always end my day on thankfulness, gratefulness. But man, my list is pretty short if we're using that as the guide.
Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Well, you've told me stories like I did on Anthony, on Corrie Tenboom. Tell me the story again. Remind me of how that relates to gratitude. I know you've used this in conversations when I've heard you speak on vitamin G.
Yeah. So, Corrie Tenboom, she was, in a concentration camp and suffering hard things. And they, found she had fleas, and and that's a terrible thing. But what
many people having fleas today?
Yeah, but then
hopefully,
yeah, exactly. But yet she was grateful that she had fleas because the fleas kept the guards away. Right, and the Bible says to be grateful in all circumstances, and to give thanks. But what it's not saying is, it's not saying give thanks for every circumstance. But within every circumstance you find yourself, you can find something to be grateful for. And that can help you, especially through the hard things, because there are hard things in life.
Well, I think that definition is something I'd like to have you rephrase again. So you don't have to be thankful for all circumstances.
Absolutely not.
You have to be thankful for what again?
So you're not thankful for every circumstance, but you're thankful in every circumstance. You're finding something you're thankful for in the circumstance. So no matter what your circumstances are, be thankful. Not for the circumstance, but in the circumstance.
Imagine a life where every movement doesn't come with a price tag of pain. At AFC, we don't just treat symptoms, we rebuild your confidence, one personalized treatment at a time. Our approach goes beyond temporary relief, targeting the root of your pain and helping you rediscover what your body can really do. Don't settle for surviving. Call us or visit our website today.
All right. Well, that right there for sure is a shift in thinking, similar to the going to bed grateful reference. So we're giving you some real things you can just take with you today. It seems like every great story we've told, we've been told, we've read has difficulty, has issues of injustice. And I think a lot of us somehow want to get through life without any of that. And we get a little mad, frustrated, angry, bitter. Unforgiveness seems to come out of that injustice, where I think all of us at the end of our life would really love our life to be a great story. So without the injustice, I don't think we can have a great story, can we?
I don't think so. I think every story that we read about or we hear, it's a story of perseverance, a story of grit, and pressing through. And I just think of, okay, this hard thing I'm going through, I'm going to get through it. I'm going to get to the other side, and it's going to be a story. And so it's perspective on that, grateful for, for sure, I'm grateful for the hard things I've had to go through.
Yeah. Well, it's made you who you are. Let's picture the same thing. Let's say we're going to wake up and we're going to remove everything that was difficult in your life backwards. Are you the same person today you are?
No way.
Are you less of a man or more of a man when I remove all those difficulties?
For sure less.
I think that's just the truth. And I think so many of us are trying to avoid this, and we don't realize it's what's making us who we are in a good way. It's making us more of fill in the blank, more patient, more courageous, more willing to deal with, more wise. Wisdom comes from difficulty and hardship, right? I also heard you say something I think I want to take a moment on, and you said joy. Is there a difference between joy and gratitude, or are they the same? Because how can people say, well, right now I'm finding difficulty finding joy in my job, in my life, in my marriage. And I think as I hear you talk, it seems joy and gratitude almost are linked or maybe even the same.
Yeah, they're very similar. I don't know that joy is a choice as much as gratitude is. I think joy is a result of gratitude. If I would look at it and so that's why even considering it pure joy, and it's more like even finding joy because that on the other side, right? The other side of this is going to be a stronger me, a better me. And so, again, they're very closely connected.
I think you kind of nailed it though. Joy is the result of gratitude.
Yeah.
So if you're not finding joy in fill in the blank, your life, your relationship, your job, the world, then I think you're not going to find it on social media, right? You're not going to get it from somebody else. No one's going to come by and give it to you. You can't buy it at CVS or the pharmacy. It feeds right into what I talk about, that we're not going to find health anywhere but inside of ourselves. And I don't think we're going to find joy unless we look within ourselves and find gratitude. That seems to be almost the core of what you're saying here. Let's finish with the conclusion, call to action. What can people walk away with tomorrow, today, and take gratitude and take the vitamin G and tomorrow feel better about it?
Well, I think really a simple practice that you can start today. Again, vitamin G is, it won't cost you any money. It'll cost you a decision to want to be healthier, a decision to want to be a better person.
Yeah.
Grateful people are just way better to be around than ungrateful people. And so real practically, tonight, before you go to bed, make it a practice that to get a journal, maybe get your phone, but you might be tempted, to look at something that's not positive, but write down 3 things you're grateful for every night. Let the last thoughts you have before you go to bed be thoughts of gratefulness. I promise you this, it will change your life. If you start taking vitamin G, money back guarantee, it will change your life. I guarantee it. I have thousands of testimonies of lives that have been changed, marriages that have been fixed, families that have been healed and restored, people promoted. Like you want to promote grateful people.
Yeah.
And again, it works. And man, there's an abundant life that you have, and one that's even waiting.
There you go, folks. It's not even hard. It's one thing every night, 3 things you write down. Now I'm curious because one thought I had, is it 3 different things every night?
Yeah, but if you can't think of something, just write that same thing down.
Same 3. If you can only come up with 3, that's enough. But if you can start adding 3 to another 3, by the end of about 6 months, if you go back and look at that journal, I think you'll be shocked on how great your life is. If you're living in America, your life's pretty good. And I think around the world, everyone's got something to be grateful for. And I know our podcast does extend outside of the States sometimes. So there you go, guys. Vitamin G. Simple. It's free. Pastor Mike even gave you a money-back guarantee. So if you start taking it and you want your money back, you call us back. Go check us out online at drkevinwall.com. Give us some feedback. If you're taking Vitamin G, we'd like to hear the results. We'll share this podcast with someone that's just dealing with some mental health stress, some anxiety, some depression. Help us get this message out, because that's all we're here for. We're just trying to change the world one podcast at a time, one message at a time, one capsule of vitamin G at a time. So, all right, well, this is Dr. Wall checking out along with
Mike Gowans.
And you always remember, be blessed, be healthy, never give up, never give in, and go get yourself some vitamin G. We'll see you again on the next episode of the Unplugged Healthcast.
The information provided in this podcast is for general knowledge and informational purposes only. It does not constitute medical advice. Always consult with a qualified healthcare professional for diagnosis and treatment of any medical condition. The views and opinions expressed by guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Unplugged Healthcast or Dr. Wall.